Okay, let's dive right in. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going deep underground. We recently got our hands on a declassified incident report from the St. Jude Archive facility. And wow, it is deeply unsettling. This isn't your everyday security breach. The details of what happened in the dark that night will absolutely chill you to the bone. So let's step right into the silence.
Right off the bat, we need to talk about orientation. When our subject, a brand new security recruit on just his third week, was being trained, the senior guard, a guy named Marcus, gave him one golden, absolutely unbreakable rule for the night shift. If you hear tapping from inside the vault, you do not tap back. You just walk away. Now, you know how it is. The recruit totally brushed this off as standard workplace hazing, just a joke to scare the new guy. But protocols in places like this, they exist for a very specific and very terrifying reason. To really grasp what happened next, you have to understand the sheer isolation of this place. The St. Jude Archive is literally built into an abandoned limestone quarry, 4 massive floors underground. Down there, you're surrounded by centuries of sealed legal records and forgotten evidence. And the silence, it is so absolute, it physically presses against you. After just a few hours in that kind of deep dark, you can literally hear the blood rushing through your own ears, kind of like distant ocean surf. That heavy, suffocating sensory deprivation completely sets the stage for the nightmare that follows. So, the shift kicks off routinely enough. He clocks in at 11:14 p.m., and everything is perfectly normal for the first 3 hours. But then, at exactly 2:14 a.m., that absolute quiet is completely shattered. The security camera feed for sub-level 3 abruptly cuts out, just plunging the monitor into pitch darkness. And look, down in the depths of a secure facility like this, a blind spot isn't just some technical glitch you can ignore. It is an immediate trigger for a physical investigation. A blind spot means he has to go down there. The elevator doors slide open on sub-level 3, and the air just hits the guard instantly. It's this suffocating metallic scent of rotting paper mixed with copper. I mean, imagine standing in that narrow concrete corridor right now. It's flanked by 12 heavy steel doors. The overhead lights are completely dead. The only thing you can see by is the angry, dim red glow of emergency lighting strips running along the floor. The guard does exactly what he's trained to do. He steps out, sweeps the corridor with his standard issue flashlight. Nothing, just the low, distant hum of the ventilation system. So he walks the long stretch to the far end, flips the junction box breaker, and boom, the green indicator light clicks back on. The camera's fixed. He lets out a breath, feeling this huge wave of relief. But man, it is a completely false sense of security. Because right as he turns his back to the junction box, facing that long walk back to the elevator, that is exactly when it starts. 3 distinct sounds. Tap, tap, tap. It isn't fast, it isn't even particularly loud, but it is incredibly deliberate. And worst of all, the guard realizes exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from inside door 07, a room that has been permanently welded shut since 1984. The guard just completely freezes. His chest tightens up as the severe physiological stress response kicks in, ringing in his ears as Marcus is mourning. Don't tap back, just walk away. Trying desperately to keep his composure, he takes a slow, shaky breath. He actually forces a quiet, nervous chuckle just to break up that oppressive silence, and he starts walking steadily back toward the elevator, doing literally everything in his power to just follow the rule. But here's where it gets so much worse. Whatever is behind that door isn't just tapping anymore. It is matching his exact stride. Every single step the guard takes down that concrete corridor, a corresponding tap answers from behind the steel doors, moving parallel right alongside him. Step, tap, step, tap. It is actively tracking him through solid steel. Which brings us to a genuinely terrifying question. What do you actually do when the absolute silence of an underground archive starts mimicking you? Well, the guard makes a fateful decision. He stops dead in his tracks, and the tapping stops too. The corridor is plunged right back into that complete, heavy, suffocating silence. He realizes, with sudden crystal clarity, that he is being actively hunted. Hands trembling, his thumbs shaking uncontrollably on the side button, he raises his two-way radio. He desperately transmits a request to his senior partner up in the control room. "Marcus, you on 3?" He begs into the quiet. But the only response pushing back through the radio speaker is this thick, heavy, wet static. And then the static clears, but it isn't Marcus on the other end. It is the guard's own voice, recorded, simulated, and played back at him with this slate unnatural digital stutter. Marcus, you on 3? The entity isn't just tracking his footsteps anymore. It has intercepted his transmission. It has literally stolen his voice. He slowly lowers the radio. The air in the corridor shifts. A distinct draft hits the back of his neck. Cold, then warm, then cold. It's the rhythmic pacing of a slow, biological exhalation, directly behind his collar. It's no longer behind the steel doors. It is standing right behind him in the corridor. And this paralyzing primal instinct takes over. He just absolutely knows that if he turns around, the nightmare is going to become real. His eyes are locked on the safety of the elevator doors, still 40 feet away. Entirely paralyzed by primal terror, the guard whispers into the empty space ahead of him, "Who's there?" And instantly, from less than an inch behind his right ear, his own stolen, simulated voice whispers back in the exact same cadence, "Who's there?" And that just breaks him. He completely sprints, heavy boots slamming against the concrete, racing for the elevator in a total blind panic. But the pursuit behind him? It isn't running footsteps. No, it's this rapid, wet, clicking sound, kind of like hundreds of long, jagged fingernails skittering against the concrete ceiling directly above his head, keeping perfect pace with him, moving impossibly fast, completely upside down. He throws himself at the elevator, scrambling inside, just slamming his bleeding hand against the ground floor button. He spins around, frantically raising his flashlight beam down that long, dark hallway as the red emergency lights just flicker violently around him. The beam cuts through the darkness and hits a figure. It's standing perfectly still in the middle of the corridor, about 20 feet away, and it is wearing his exact guard uniform. It has his exact height and posture, but its neck is violently snapped at this unnatural 90-degree angle, resting completely flat against its left shoulder. And the face? It is completely smooth. Just pale skin stretched insanely tight over bone, with nothing but 2 tiny dark pinholes for breathing. It's this horrific biological approximation of a human being. The elevator doors begin their agonizingly slow slide shut. The entity just stands there, totally motionless in the bleeding red light. The gap narrows. 4 inches of space left. 2 inches. The metal panels are almost touching. He is almost safe. But right before safety is achieved, the creature finally moves. Its smooth, jawless, featureless lower face violently splits open right down the center. And isn't like a mouth opening, no, it's this jagged, wet tear across tight skin, revealing a vibrating mass of raw, wet muscle underneath. And from that torn, bleeding aperture erupts a sound that just defies all logic. It isn't the guard's voice anymore. It is Marcus's voice, the senior guard up on the surface. And it is screaming in absolute agony-drenched terror, yelling, "Get out of the building! It's already in the control room!" The elevator is moving up. The doors are locked. But think about this. If this mimic is trapped down in the vault, wearing the recruit's face, and it just broadcasted Marcus's dying screams, what exactly is waiting for our guard up on the ground floor? I am going to leave you to ponder the true scale of what escaped that night. Thanks for joining this explainer. Keep your eyes open, and whatever you do, do not tap back.